as I want. We seem to have had critical baby failure. But it's going to be okay. Yes, the baby's still on the break.
Didn't roll a double 20, like what? Critical?
Doing exactly what it needs to do. That's not failure.
So yeah.
Anyway.
Season 2, episode 5, part 3.
Yes.
I can do math. Awesome. So, what we're going to do in part 3 is we're going to try to work out where our Act 2 break is. Which I feel like it's going to have to be, it's after the dream.
I want it to be the dream, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so how
That's like our pinch point almost.
How Rogers and Hammerstein is this dream sequence? Like,
How much singing is in it?
how?
That would be the question you would ask.
Okay,
It's almost.
I'm actually talking about how creepy it is. I don't know if you've noticed, but dream sequences in musicals are always terrifying.
They are, yes.
So, like, is this a trippy dream sequence? Is this just a, you think it's real life and then they wake up? Or, like, what kind of dream sequence are we doing?
I would say closer to the real life than the creepy,
Okay.
but with some
It'll
elements
be a little
of
trippy.
Yeah,
Somebody
it could
walks
be-
by
it
and
could
there's a
be trippy.
slice of cake is ahead.
None of that.
No,
None of that.
no
But-
cake.
But
No cake.
Star Wars Christmas Special.
Not the Star Wars.
No, not that.
Cover that.
But some
We have a cheese
odd
man
transitions,
involved.
the kind of thing that happens in dreams where something's happening and then suddenly you're in a different scene.
Okay.
Like that kind
Okay,
of.
so we do want to telegraph that this isn't real. Yeah.
I think
Yes.
so.
Okay.
There should be some confusion.
Okay.
Mm,
And one way to do that is to just suddenly not be doing what you were just doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Have some people are suddenly there who weren't a second ago.
Right,
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that's been mentioned that has to show up in a dream is that Vingalot is supposed to show up in Kieran's dream.
Yes.
So there's the ship of Aaron.
We could see not swan ships, but swans in Olwe's dream.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe he could even be finding himself for no reason guiding swans.
Like
You know, like a goose
herding
herd.
swans?
Yeah.
Like with a stick?
Always the goose herd and little ants.
No, that's probably not a
I
good
almost kind of like the
idea,
idea
right?
of seeing like maybe some
You want like
swans
a
taking
swan
off
hat?
from the water or coming and landing in the water.
That's
Yeah.
Because it
interesting.
kind of parallels what we're later gonna have with the swans in
Two-word story.
with tour
Mhm.
story. Um,
Yeah.
just visually, like the
Prophetic
visual.
dream swan sounds good.
Yeah, I like the visual parallel.
That's the name of my next band.
Prophetic dream
Prophetic dream
swans.
Yes.
swans.
Prophetic dream swans. Okay, well, I think that, I mean, do we want them coming or going? Because this is kind of relevant
I think maybe
too.
coming, because they're about to become mariners and they're going to build.
So it's like a
maybe
harbinger
Maybe they're
of
landing
their
and in the
future.
water and swimming.
Okay, I like that. Okay, it works really well symbolically.
Yeah,
We'll have
it does.
swan plushies for sale
It's
in
like
the
it's come
store.
from the Monway with the air,
Next to
they've
the
gotten the
Tickle
summons,
Momos.
and now they're coming down to
The Olmo show.
And they kind of like just drift away in the water.
Yeah.
And then the dream cuts to something else. Or maybe we just cut between Olmo and, or sorry, Olwe and Kieran's dreams.
Mm.
Like maybe both
I
dreams
don't
are
know, would that be
happening.
too confusing?
It's gonna be super confusing, so I don't know how to do that, but
Yeah, so that is a good question. How do we show
How
two
do we show
different people
two dream
having
sequences?
different
dreams?
dreams.
Are they in the same dream? Like, are they cognizant of each other's dreams?
No.
Probably
No.
not.
No, they're
Because
definitely
they're
not.
different dreams.
Not if they're getting different messages too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, you could transition from one to the other. You could
But
have
how
one
will
could-
you
yeah.
telegraph
I don't think I would,
I know.
I don't think I would intercut them. I would
Okay.
like do one and then the other, but you could cut.
It's, the problem with that is it's the repetition of it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
okay? What you could do is you could show them both sleeping. You can intercut the two dreams, but you clearly show
Kieran
different.
in one dream.
Kieran in one dream, Owen in another,
Yeah.
and the backgrounds will be different.
We have to-
Yeah, yeah,
Backgrounds,
yeah.
maybe different color palettes.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
You
Yeah.
could even possibly, if it's too much, just have one right after the other. Just insert some other small domestic scene between them.
I just
You
made
know,
Alex's.
one of them goes to bed earlier than the other one,
I know,
or,
right?
or maybe there's some little conversation that happens with one of them and then he goes to bed and then we get this.
Great.
Okay.
As far as we know, Kieran is single. It's never mentioned
Yeah.
if he's married.
Probably
Olwe has a wife.
Yeah.
So if
So
you're
you-
interested
yeah.
in domestic scenes that happen at, bedtime, I would think the
Sorry, what?
converse, I wasn't suggesting pillow talk, I was just suggesting
You
a
said
general idea. that-
Domestic bedtime scenes. Okay, continue,
Is
I'm
that-
sorry.
okay, so
And that's the same that happened at night.
Yeah, and so conversations.
Mine in the
That's
gutter.
what we do.
I'm
If
saying-
Cirdan and Olwe have been like.
There's
arguing-
married
That's all
people in the
Washing
room this
dishes.
time, so.
Conversations, washing dishes.
Watching dishes
and-
and looking at your phone. That's what we do at night.
If Cirdan and Olwe have been like kind of debating what they're gonna do, and then Cirdan just goes to bed and we get his dream sequence, and then we get little Olwe kind of discussing it again with his wife in the evening, because I mean that's what you do when you go home and you're trying to figure something out. You're sounding board of your spouse and.
There were swans, and also you were there, but your head was
No, no,
big.
before the dream.
Oh, okay.
He's just
sorry,
like, you know, I'm
sorry.
having this argument with Cirdan and I don't know what
I
to
don't know
do,
what
and
to do.
get this,
This
kind of
is
get
that.
her opinion,
Okay.
and then go into his dream sequence. That
Yeah.
might be just enough break between them
To
Yeah.
separate.
to separate it.
Yeah, and I like the idea of having different color palettes to differentiate between the different dreams. It would be a lot easier if we had daytime and nighttime, because then we'd be like, oh, well, yours is set in the day and yours is set in the night, but no.
No,
But no.
it's not.
We can't, this is why we can't
However,
have nice things.
a note on Cirdan's lack of wife is that the hosts have suggested that they want him to have a wife here,
Okay.
Yeah.
and that they're separated
I
Oh,
by
his
the,
wife goes with.
I
his
kinda
wife
hate
goes,
that.
and then she dies horribly in the Kingslayer.
I kinda hate it. I know that it would up the drama and it would up the tragedy.
Alex on board
Well, I'm
with you.
trying to think,
I
I mean,
just don't like it.
wouldn't that have kind of a huge effect later on?
It does. The problem with stuff like that is that the one thing that seems true in Tolkien's world is that spouses make decisions to have the same fate. And
Yeah.
spouses who don't make that decision are like terribly tragic and commented upon. Like the Ents and the
Yeah.
Entwives is a big deal.
It is.
Right.
And the wives who stay behind in Valinor when the Noldor leave in
Yeah.
rebellion, there's a lot of like war widows.
Yeah.
What I thought of is Eredil
Yeah.
and Ale. I'm just like, that was a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
That's fair.
in all of his storytelling, the separation of spouses is this huge deal and very tragic and very sad.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough.
It is.
It is.
Like I said, fair enough, I'm not disagreeing. But to just do it and be like, we're deciding who's getting on the boat and who's not, let's just,
Let's
separate for
invent a
6,000
way.
years.
Yeah, just to get rid of her.
Right.
I kinda
Well, I
hate
mean, it
inventing
can
someone
happen
just to
with,
kill them, but I guess that's
One of the things.
writing.
Whose wife stayed behind.
Almost all the wives stay behind when
Yeah.
the important Noldor
So it
leave.
did kind of happen with the Noldor,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a bad
Yeah,
decision.
Fingolfin's wife
It's
is in
definitely a very
Valinor.
questionable decision.
Yeah.
Nerdnell's
The other problem I see with it is it's almost the definition of fridging, creating a character just to kill him
Yes.
Yeah.
for
We
the
talked
development of a
about
different
that.
character.
Yeah.
So I don't like the
Yeah.
idea.
So that's like if I had one thing like that I really disagreed with the host about in recent history, it would be like I don't want Cirdan to have a wife that we invent just to sort of create drama and
Yeah.
kill her or get rid of her in some way. I
Kind of
just
have
Yeah.
enough of that.
Killing.
We have enough
Yeah.
wives that in husbands that separate
that are
in Tolkien's
estranged for some
legends
reason. Yeah.
That we don't need to add another one. It seems
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I almost kind of want to represent a single character because I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of the characters in the story up to this point and even further along are married or connected in some way to a romantic other.
It does connect
Besides
Cirdan to
Bilbo
Olmo
and
too.
Frodo,
Mhm.
we just don't have a lot of,
Yeah. No.
confirmed bachelors among the elves.
Right.
And
Up
we're
to the
trying
point.
to give Cirdan like this role of you will stay here and be the gateway to allow all the other elves to go across. It is kind of a mission that parallels to what you would expect for. So you have to forsake all other loyalties and take on this mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more something you give to a single guy than a married guy.
Yeah, Alex actually just said this very similar thing. He says, can we have Cirdan not having a spouse, a cost he has to pay to fulfill his role? This is something that he's done intentionally because, like, he's got a job to do and he
Right.
doesn't need to divide his loyalties or complicate his life.
So I am willing to keep the host's idea if we change it to he has
A girl
someone
that he
who-
thinks he's cute.
Right, someone he would have pursued
Ah.
had this not
If,
come
like-
along.
So it's a decision that he makes
Right.
rather than a
And he
decision
doesn't
that
even
she
pursue her.
makes.
She doesn't even necessarily know
Right.
Yeah,
he's
I would
interested.
prefer it to be
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
So
how
she
I-
gets on the island to go with Olwe, and he watches her sail away. and it's
Meanwhile,
like,
she doesn't
that's-
know
Which
that
is quite
he
tragic.
was, like, into
Yeah,
her.
that's still tragic.
I like
And he's
that
singing,
better.
I will always love you. Never mind.
That was
No.
beautiful. This is going on the internet.
I know.
Okay. As long as you're comfortable with
I
that.
put it there. I'm the one who does that. You know what's the best part? If I watch it and I hate it, it won't be there. I have full control over that. This isn't live.
Well, and it's true. I've already revealed that I don't really watch the videos afterward because I get creeped out by them.
Yes.
And my voice.
Ah.
So I'll
Yeah,
never know.
everybody gets creeped out by their own
Yeah.
voice.
On recording.
And-
Yeah.
Alex points out that that would be a whole character that we would have to invent, which
Well,
it would be either way.
Well-
This is a way to kind of incorporate what they're suggesting
yeah.
without being quite as terrible.
The other part is like we don't have to really invent. She doesn't have to have a big backstory. She doesn't have to be this
She doesn't
fully.
have any lines.
We don't even have to name her exactly. We can just like see him looking at this girl in the distance who's hanging out and playing in the beach. Maybe she's like, I don't know, hanging out with Unin, and he's all like, she's got such sparkly eyes, and we can tell that he's into her. We don't have to get it as complicated.
It can all be done with like looks.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And with distance.
We've
yeah, with
already
distance.
had Elway have a clueless admirer, or
Mhm.
Elway be clueless and have an admirer.
Yeah.
Norman.
Yeah.
So this would kind of be like the reverse of that story, where we're seeing it from Kieran's perspective, where he knows that he's into this person, but he also knows he's going to have to let her go.
Although Alex, not me, notably, says that
We're
they're
not
just
famous.
they're just wrong and it's a stupid idea. So
But he says, I'll accept it as a background detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want it to be a detail. I really dislike stories where the guy's like, no, I must forsake our future together because I have a destiny, when she's all like, well, we can do both. Like, both is good.
Yeah.
Because that's him, like,
I could
making,
help
Very
you.
dangerous.
him making a decision
You're right.
for her
Right.
and overruling her, saying that,
Yeah.
I think it would be better if she
it's
just
a
has
pretty
no idea.
natural
If it- I
male
mean,
thing to
if
do.
it's-
He's like, I'll save yourself from yourself, honey. No, you can't be with me. I'm too important. I would hate that. Let's not do that.
Well, if it's about Kieran, let's keep it in Kieran's head.
Exactly.
Right.
No.
Okay. Like they should barely have a conversation together, just glances and mentions at the most. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
I'm
agree.
not
think
even
we
a
can-
conversation.
I'm with you, Alex.
Other than, you know, oh, good morning, my lord, you know. Oh,
Or,
hi.
or
That's all.
like he's like watching her walk across the camp and always like, hey,
Yeah.
so what are we going to do about
And
this?
he's all like,
Wait,
yeah,
what? Who-
yeah, I was
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board with what?
Okay, so yeah,
That's all we need.
that never happens to anybody ever.
Now, much better than.
Art of Stones, all of us. That's why we're talking about like one of the most romantic fantasy stories, like is within time.
Yeah.
Romantic in the sense that everyone dies.
It's very romantic if you're into death,
Yes.
which apparently we are, because we're all here.
Hmm. Anyway, so
People look at me strangely.
can we have a name
She
for
likes
script
Mongolia.
for script purposes then? I elect
Pretty elf girl number one.
not
No,
me
okay.
for the designing of
Yeah,
said
we
names.
can put that up on the forums, or we can tweet it, or we can have
Or
Marie
Alex can
come up
name
with
her.
an, or you can name her. You're real good at that.
You guy in box. She's pointing at the phone,
If you
Let's
want
talk
to.
talking to you.
Let's talk to the box, everybody.
He says not no.
He says
So-
no.
I'll name
That's
her.
not what he
You
said.
want to name her?
I have the gateway to Cinder at home, sure.
Perfect. Okay.
Fantastic.
Are you on Twitter?
What color is her hair?
Silver.
Yeah, let's make it silver.
Kel Finreal.
Kel Finreal. That's beautiful. Her
Silver
name's Kel
braided hair
Finreal.
maiden, I think, something like that.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so
Oh,
Anyway.
this is your name.
there we go.
Except that's a Finn. Let's not give her a name.
Streets
then.
of Finn.
No name.
All right.
Certainly need one, but I can,
Okay, what's
I can look through the glossary.
what's
and
Elvish for no
stick
name?
some. I have to look at the book, I don't know what the.
Anyway.
Very, very big, I didn't bring it.
So all right. So we still have to. So the dreams are kind of like the trigger to the end of Act 2.
If this is a 3-act thing, yes.
Yes, which I would recommend. I don't know if we have enough material to do 4 acts without, you know.
Right. I don't think we have enough
manufacturing all
different
that
groups to change between.
stuff. Right,
So I think we can do 3 big acts instead of 4 little ones.
right. This is TV, we have to do 4 acts.
Okay. Well, let's get
Well-
through the next one.
Okay.
And see what do we have left.
We can
Okay.
fill in with bad guys. We can make.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could revisit Darren Gwethel being a spy. Because if we have Uinen and Ase being,
Oh, buddy,
Maybe this is a
sort
good point,
sort
okay.
of like the emissaries of the good guys, and, you know, being the people who interact with the elves, we can have creepy bad guys in the distance spying and reporting back, which will take up some time.
Okay. So we've established, let's talk our bad guys for a minute. We've established Thuringwithel, and we've established Tevildo and their position in the chain of command hierarchy thing that's going on at,
Which, just a reminder, is that Tevildo is the torturer and Thuringwethel is the spy.
is the spy and messenger lady.
Yes.
And her goal is to find all the secrets.
Yes.
Why are you here?
To know everything.
secrets.
Does she go around on a bike with a messenger bag?
No.
That would be amazing, though.
Anyway,
I was thinking Kiki's delivery service, but okay.
alright,
Yeah.
so we get, we're doing Droglin this time,
Yes.
alright? So, this is Sauron's attempt to copy some of this stuff that Melkor has been planning up and doing. The whole idea of stuffing Maiar spirits into bodies, into physical bodies that they're stuck with now.
Yes. So this is where he gets to get some practice with manipulating spirits.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
will be important to him later.
Right, and he's been, cause he's been playing around with the elves and how they work and all that, and he's going to apply what he's learning here. Do we do like a mad scientist lab scene
Yeah.
where Thuringwethel comes in? And,
Maybe.
and like while he's doing it, so that he can explain what his evil plan is to her.
Maybe. I have one question before we move on with what are the back end game. What rating does this theoretical TV show have? Like, was
We've
that
never answered that
ever
question.
stated? Because
No.
I don't want it to be super graphic and horrible.
Yes.
At the same time, I want the bad guys to be convincingly terrifying.
Yeah. Well, I think we can solve that problem, meaning avoid that problem, by having most of what Sauron does at this juncture be in the spirit realm.
Okay.
So as soon as you switch his experiment to the
Wraith world.
the Wraith World
Yeah.
plane, or whatever you wanna call it,
Right,
then sure, he's doing horrible things, but you don't see any of the blood.
Okay.
right.
So-
Like he can walk up to,
Manipulate.
right, he can like walk up to the spirit that's standing there and like
Rip it out of it.
pull it and like put it into
Okay.
this shadowy figure.
Second question I have, when does Karkaroth come? I know how he
That's
comes
way
into
later.
being.
Yeah.
But
Drogo
when?
is the father of Karkaroth,
Okay,
and obviously we need Karkaroth before we have Bran.
yeah, so
And
is,
it's after Morgoth learns the prophecy about Huon.
Huon, so it's
So
much
he's-
later.
Yeah, so it's after the Noldor and Middle-earth, after Morgoth's
Okay.
back in Middle-earth.
'Cause I was
But
trying to-
Droglin will be the father of Karkaroth.
Okay,
So we're gonna do
so-
Droglin now, and then have
Okay.
Karkaroth.
Oh, rating, I can actually answer that. Alex was just talking about something, and he mentions the Turin story, and I realized that we may not show a whole lot, but there is a naked woman on the
There's nudity.
screen.
Yeah.
Well, there's also
But-
kidnapping and rape as well. and
Yeah.
you got
The question is how much
dark
to show.
elf and
It's,
that sort of
I
thing.
It's
think
always-
PG-13 is probably a good thing to
Yeah.
aim for.
I
Yeah.
think we can probably pull off this.
TV-14.
I think we can probably pull off the story without going into an R rating,
Yeah.
so this is
Yeah.
not gonna be HBO's Game of Thrones.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
But,
it is still Tolkien.
but it's not
Yeah.
our decision on how far this goes, it's up to the execs, and
Yeah.
they've never suggested that they want to see scenes that are
Explicitly.
explicitly graphic,
Yeah.
either violent or
Yeah.
sexual, so.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know that like blood automatically is going to bump the rating up to, a more severe rating. But torture scenes, even without blood, are pretty disturbing. So even if we're working in the spirit realm,
There's probably rules about what you can.
Remember,
Yeah.
our demographic are gonna be the people who enjoy The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
so
movies.
probably grown-ups.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
because
have
little
to keep
kids
it at that
don't
level.
read the Silmarillion.
Well, you look at how Jackson handled the orc reading.
Yeah.
They made it like the
There's
make a
no
monster
rape
machine.
scene.
Yeah, no, they were made in the Makery Bakery, you know?
Yeah.
Right, the orc pods
The
was to
creepy
solve this
crawler.
problem
Yeah,
exactly.
but that,
He
but
wasn't gonna
that
show
solved the
a reading
problem
process.
without creating it graphic, and that's basically where we kinda wanna keep that
Mhm.
baseline. There's still blood and guts and violence and everything else, and it'll stay true to the creator's vision too, I mean, it just told
Orc,
us.
orc blood being black actually allows you to skip some of those
Exactly.
Yeah.
ratings, but
Well, we will need some pretty red blood in some areas, but.
red.
All right.
Elle's blood is red.
Oh,
So-
yes.
So real quick before we go to another break, Alex points out that Doctor Who actually is kind of directed at kids and is specifically designed to deliver horror and frighten them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't go past the,
That's
you know,
true.
you can show it before the watershed, so.
Yeah,
um, I know that term.
But yeah, even some of the readers that are all
Alright.
probably like high school up. So
Right.
PG-13 is pretty safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right, we're gonna take a quick break.
All the wars are gonna be graphic for the kids.
Yeah.
As you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to like and share the videos. If you have anything to add, feel free to comment. And if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe. It really helps us out. We'll be back in a minute.